What symptoms did you have before you went to be tested?
Um, Before I went to the hospital like 3 different times before I got admitted. It started like March 21st. I had the fever, I had the chills, the fever and body aches. And after that, I went back to the hospital. I lost my taste and my smell. And shortly after that, right before I got admitted, like a few days before I got admitted, I couldn't eat. So I didn't eat for like 4 days. So I got to the hospital. We called an ambulance, and they had to come pick me up because my oxygen levels was real low. I was only breathing at 52% on my own, and that was my first time crashing. So they had to rush me to the hospital. And got to emergency, and my breathing was like basically non-existent. So they had to put me on a ventilator. That was the first set of symptoms. I mean, well, that's the symptoms, and then the first like time I got in the ambulance to get admitted. The day I was tested, like I said, I went in the ambulance. They had to hurry up and put me on 15 liters of oxygen. Got to the emergency. They did the test, and then they put me on a ventilator. They took me off the ventilator a little bit later, and they put me back on 15 liters of oxygen. When I got tested, it was just weird because I've never seen that many like doctors in one room, and I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't talk to my family or nothing, so I didn't know what was going on. They wasn't telling my wife anything, and I honestly felt like I was about to die. I'm not gonna lie. So I just was trying to come to terms with losing my life, and that's just what my mindset was at that point. My kids asking questions like where my dad at, or when he coming home, and my wife telling me that they're asking these questions because the first day I didn't talk to my family at all because I couldn't talk. So then the doctors told me that the next day when I was able to call my family, the doctors told me they didn't want me talking because of how bad my breathing is and my lungs are. So I told them that something's just gonna have to happen because I'm not gonna sit here and not talk to my family, and I can't even see them. And in the hospital, I'm like, I just gotta do this for my kids. My wife was telling me how hard it was, and like as far as CJ, my oldest son, asking her when my dad coming home, and things like that. It just got to me, and I had to fight while I was in the hospital. It's like my family motivated me actually to fight the virus because you can't fight it. But other than that, it wasn't good for me as far as not seeing my family. So I was in the hospital for like 2 weeks. The first few days, they put me on and off ventilators. And it got to a point to where the ventilator, I feel like, makes it worse. So I signed a waiver so they wouldn't put me back on the ventilator. They call it incubating you or whatever. I told them I don't want to do it no more because it made me feel horrible. So I signed a waiver to get off of it. And after that, the routine was throughout the morning. I mean, where you go, they want you to sleep on your stomach. So that was hard for me at first, but I just had to do it, because like my kids crossed my mind. So you get up, you eat breakfast. I took like 12 pills every 6 hours. I don't know, and then I took a pill that made you use the restroom. And I peed maybe, I don't know, I probably peed like at least 2 gallons of pee like every day. It was crazy. I was just peeing whatever medicine they was giving me. After that, like you only could eat certain stuff. I was on a diet. So they had me on a diet to where I couldn't eat salt because I had high blood pressure too. And they also told me um, I couldn't have fried foods or something like that, or red meat. So I was only eating chicken. And then they ended up telling me that I lost too much weight. I ended up losing like 32 pounds in the hospital. So they told me, they started making me eat everything. So this became a routine. They just started stuffing me with food to make me gain my weight back. But for the first few days, I couldn't eat. And it was just medicine, just poking. I got poked at least 100 times with needles. That was the most frustrating part because I'm like, how many times I got to do this? It was people coming in there poking me because other people couldn't find the vein, or they needed more medicine, they needed more samples. They took so much blood from me. It was ridiculous. I don't know. It was just weird. I had 2 IVs in both my arms. So I had an IV here and I had an IV there. I had something in my wrist. It was weird. Or my hand. I don't know. It's just weird. Like I said, I took that many pills. All the pills I took every 6 hours. And they started at like 4 or 5 in the morning. So I couldn't really get rest like I wanted. So yeah, my routine, this is really just a routine of just medicine and being uncomfortable for the most part. I thought to myself, I talked to a guy I know by the name of Trayvon Harlan. He got some significance to me. He's a very close person to very close to me. He told me that at this point in my life, for the first time, I got to be selfish. And I gotta actually fight. He said you gotta do whatever you can to get up out this bed and to get back home to your family. So he told me just don't just lay there. You know what I mean? He said you gotta get up. So I got up. I told the doctors I want to walk around this hallway every day. And it was just my mindset was like, I want to be a better father, a better husband, a better person. I want to be better at all that. Because like being that close to losing your life, it just made you think like the stuff that you didn't do as good as you could. So, and I feel like I can do all that better. I feel like I feel like I can help people better. I feel like I can do more for my kids as far as like finding time to take them outside and play basketball or anything they want to do. Taking my wife out, anything. I just feel like I could have done a lot better job at all of that. And also the other thoughts were, I just thought honestly, the first week I thought I was gonna die. I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was gonna die. I didn't think I was gonna make it. It didn't get to me thinking about being better for my family until after that first week when I started like eating again. Because before they were asking me, you don't feel this virus, what it's doing to your body? I'm like, nah. They was like, it's not looking good. Like, you don't feel it? I'm like, no, I don't. They was like, they don't know what's going on. So at that point, I'm like, man, I'm probably about to die. So I ended up calling my family as much as possible because I was scared. Well, when the doctors cleared me to come home, it was kind of weird because like the 2 days before, they told me I wasn't getting any better. No, 3 days, like 3 or 4 days before. And then after I started fighting it and getting up out of bed, sitting in chairs, walking, stretching, trying to lift my legs, workout, stuff like that in the room, they came in the room the day I was discharged. They came in the room and it was like, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm okay. They was like, okay. Well, you can go ahead and get your clothes. Get dressed. I'm like, get dressed. Where I'm going? I'm going to another floor. They're like, no, we discharging you. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, like, we don't know what you did or how you did it, but you did a whole 360 in like 2 or 3 days. And I honestly, because I've never prayed that much in my life. For me, I never prayed that much in my life. Cause like I told you before, we had a conversation before about my beliefs or whatever, my religion, my religious beliefs. And I just prayed, you know what I'm saying? That's all I did. And I was like, what you mean like a 360? It was like, we did, after your x-rays, you don't even have, like, you're no longer you don't need us anymore. Like, I went from having my lungs basically collapsing to basically having one lung back and my other lung is recovering. So I don't know, they were just surprised, like they don't know what I did or like how it happened, but it did. For me, I just said it, to me it was the man above it, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like I did fight, but I couldn't have did it without my family, God, you know. I just feel like it wasn't just me. I don't think I did that. I don't even think the doctors had nothing to do with me getting better, in my opinion. It was Chad's birthday. I was in the hospital. I got out on the 16th. His birthday is on April. I got out on April 16th. His birthday is April 19th. My goal was to not miss his birthday, so I wanted to be there for him. I wanted to be there with my son on his first birthday. That was his first one, and the doctor was like, well, at that point they were like, well, it don't like you're gonna get out anytime soon. I said, y'all can't do that. Y'all can't do that to me, like, you know. And then to me, I was so hurt because at that point, that's when my wife was telling me how many questions like my oldest son was asking her. And then she said that Chaz will wake up, the youngest, the 1-year-old now, they said he would wake up and then look where I was sleeping and say, Dad, Dad, and just keep saying Dad, Dad. And hey, that broke me down. That did me the worst. That did me the worst. So. For me, if you have the virus or anything really, not just the virus, whatever you're going through, you gotta fight. You just can't. You gotta fight. You gotta pray, and you just gotta make sure you don't get too low, because God will bring you through it. You'll motivate your family, your mind, your mind, your body can get weak, but your mind gotta stay strong, in my opinion. You just gotta fight. Don't let nobody tell you what you can and can't do. I had doctors telling me it didn't look like I was gonna beat the virus, or they was telling my wife it's not looking good. To now I'm healed, I recovered, I'm healthy. I just feel like you gotta control your own narrative. So don't let nobody else do it for you. Like I said, pray, fight, and find motivation to keep going. My name is Cortez and I'm a COVID-19 survivor.